Oftentimes, we think of different social and economic issues as separate entities that all affect the world individually. But this is not how things often play out. Because of the nature of the world, no single action is truly isolated from the world around it. The world is not an echo chamber where everything happens and then has no repercussions. This is why it is essential that as we learn and act more to fix the ongoing climate crisis, we do our best to understand not just what's happened, but why it happened, who's being hurt, what led up to it, and how to prevent it from happening again. This type of thought is very related to what we call intersectionality, and it's not unique to the environment. As defined by Merriam-Webster, intersectionality is the complex, cumulative way in which the effects of multiple forms of discrimination, such as racism, sexism, and classism, combine, overlap, or intersect, especially in the experiences of marginalized individuals or groups. This can be seen in the relationship between the environment and poverty. Environmental issues affect everyone, but some people are hurt more than others. When someone doesn't have access to reliable shelter, the variable and often unpredictable weather caused by climate change and disruption can lead to much more than just a few uncomfortable afternoons inside. During the most recent heat wave in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, many people without homes had to make calls to the fire department for help. In Seattle alone, over 100 calls were made during the 3-day period, but among those calls, it was noticed that homeless and shelterless people were disproportionately represented. 11% of the calls were from homeless people, even though homeless people make up less than 1% of the total population in the Seattle area. What makes the situation even worse is that homeless people are already much less likely to call for assistance, which means that there were most likely even more people who could have used help and simply didn't call for it. According to a major nonprofit organization that works to provide housing in New York City, there are many reasons a person would say no to help. Independence, fear of the unknown, concern for safety, lack of confidence, pride. Seeking shelter, and in this case assistance, means both acknowledging that you need help and then believing enough in yourself and the shelter system that you will get the help you need and that it will change your life for the better. Another layer that's added onto this issue is race. In Seattle, Black, Native, and mixed people make up only 13% of the total population, and yet make up 50% of the homeless population. This means that when climate change hurts people, those in poverty, and because of that more people of color, end up being hurt, and they're hurt much more than those with housing. What this example shows is that even something that might seem as simple and straightforward as a heat wave can end up having all sorts of different effects that people don't always think about. When people in places of power, like politicians and the wealthy, don't consider all the factors that make up an issue, normal working and lower class people end up getting the bad end of the deal. No one action is self-containing, and when it comes to the environment, it is important to remember how different laws and efforts might end up hurting different people. This can all feel very frustrating, and for valid reason. It's hard when trying to solve one problem because you often end up dealing with much more than initially anticipated, but there are ways that you can help. The first is education. Simply being aware of how different privileges and issues interact with each other is a good first step to understanding and solving problems. If you know that weather conditions impact people without housing more than it does others, you can be an informed voter, or can talk to your parents about factors that they might not have considered in their voting. A quick tip for education, try to find a diverse set of people to learn from. Learn about the issues people of color have to face from people of color who face those issues. Learn about the homelessness crisis from people who are or who have worked closely with homeless people. Learn about LGBTQ+ issues from LGBTQ+ people. The second way you can help is through donations. Even if you can't help with your time, money can be a huge help in getting the word out and making change. No social movement works without money, so if you find yourself in a place where you can donate, it really does help a lot. And third, you can check out the rest of the EcoLearners YouTube and subscribe to see future videos on various climate-related topics. We also have a website, EcoLearners.org, where you can find even more exclusive content, and follow our other social media for updates on giveaways and other events. Thank you so much for watching. Links to the EcoLearners website as well as the sources used in this video can be found in the description.